Isang paalaala, ang susunod na kabanata ay naglalaman ng mga salita at pahayag na maaaring magdulot ng takot, pangamba at pagkabahala sa mga nakikinig, lalo na sa mas nakababatang gulang. Huwag magpatuloy kung kinakailangan. Tuloy po kayo sa ika-23 gabi ng San Telmo Society. Kumusta po kayong lahat? Sana ay napapakinggan ninyo ang episode na ito sa maayos na kalagayan. Ang San Telmo Society ay ang listener story submission segment ng Philippine Camper Stories, kung saan binabasa ko ang mga totoong kwento ng kababalaghan at pagtataka mula mismo sa ating mga tagapakinig. Hindi na natin patatagalin pa. Ngayong gabi, 2 kwento na naman ang ating babasahin mula sa ating mga kasama. Ang unang kwento ay mula kay Je na pinamagatan niyang Once Upon a Nap. Pakinggan natin ang kanyang kwento. Hello, Philippine Camper Stories. I've been a listener of this podcast for a long time now. Pero ngayon lang ako nag-decide na mag-email sa inyo. I'm hoping na mabasa nyo to. You can just call me Je. I am 28 years old and I've never had any encounter with the paranormal. But this story that I'm gonna share with you is easily the most terrifying experience of my life. Iilan lang yung mga taong napagsabihan ko nito. And it even took me years to be able to actually tell it to someone without shaking. It happened years ago. I was in high school, and that day, as I perfectly recall, laban ni Manny Pacquiao yun. Everyone's gathered sa sala na katabi rin ng kwarto. And since I wasn't interested in watching, I decided I'd take a nap, which turned out to be, and I cannot stress this enough, a terrible, terrible idea. Lalo na busog pa ako. We had just finished eating our lunch and it's still a bit early for the main event. Puro undercard pa lang kaya hindi pa ganun kaingay sila papa. Even yung mga katabing bahay namin, tahimik pa rin. Perfect time ko na yun para matulog, sabi ko. Mamaya pa yung kaguluhan kapag sumampan ni si Manny sa ring. By the way, my room back then doesn't have a door. Manipis na curtain lang at yung malaking tukador na nagsisilbing harang ng mismong kwarto. Ginagawa pa kasi yung bahay namin nun. Only a few minutes after my head hit the pillow, I drifted off to sleep. What I thought would be just a normal afternoon nap turned out to be the scariest thing that ever happened to me. Mababaw pa lang yung tulog ko nun. Nasa dream state pa lang ako kumbaga. I don't know why, pero bigla akong nagising. Or so I thought. I remember being irritated because I really wanted to sleep. Masakit pa nga yung mata ko. So, I tried. But then, this weird thing happened. Alam mo yung every time na pumipikit ako, parang may humihila sa akin pa ilalim. Honestly, mahirap siya i-describe. Pero may humihigop sa akin galing sa ilalim at para akong nahuhulog sa madilim na balon ng tubig o sa kalawakan. Yes, it was that confusing. But get this, paulit-ulit yun. Pero hindi talaga ako bumabagsak or nahuhulog or nahihigop ng tuluyan. Nakakatakot. Another thing that I don't understand is, even though gets ko na nabangungot yun at kailangan ko na bumangon, gusto pa rin ng mga mata kong pumikit. Kahit naaalarma na yung utak ko sa nangyayari. So ganun lang, paulit-ulit. Hindi ko mabilang kung ilang beses. I wanted to cry and call out for help pero walang lumalabas na boses sa akin. Yung biglang may dumating. Tao. Pero, tao nga ba? Now here's the part where some of you might say, nice one, muntik na akong maniwala. But you must know, I don't give 2 shits if no one believes me. Sa pagkakataong yun, I was so scared. I didn't even have time to utter a prayer. I was literally frozen in fear. Sumilip yung tao sa bintana ko. Hinawi pa yung nakasampay na damit at tumingin ng diretso sa akin. Ngumiti at sinabing, "Hindi ka makakatayo dyan. Papatay kita." Sino siya? Ako? It was me. Yes, to my absolute horror. That's me. Or she just looked exactly like me. She's wearing the same clothes I was wearing that day.
Mukha ko, boses ko, akong ako. Pareho lahat. Ang pinagkaiba lang, at that moment, I was helpless. While the other me, she was grinning. She knew very well that she's winning. What she said, how she looked and sounded will forever be engraved in my memory. Paano ako nagising? It's because of my mama. Nagising ako na niyuyugyug niya yung balikat ko. Sabi ni mama, akala daw niya kung anong nangyari sa akin at umiiyak ako ng mahina kaya pinuntahan niya ako. Naabutan niya raw na nakaharang yung mga braso ko sa akin at parang meron akong tinutulak palayo. Ganun daw yung itsura ko. Iniisip ko nga, paano kaya kung hindi ako nagising? Mangyari kaya yung sinabi nung kamukha ko sa panaginip? It gives me chills every time I would think about it. Matagal bago ko kinayang gumamit ng salamin dahil sa nangyari. I don't remember how long it took for me to calm down. Lumabas ako sa kwarto noon to drink water. Mama asked me about my dream pero hindi ko magawang ikwento sa sobrang takot. Hindi ko kaya. Kahit ayokong manood, I just joined the people sa sala para hindi na ako matakot. I read and heard stories about sleep paralysis after that, pero mostly, people see this dark figure trying to suffocate or kill them, kaya iniisip ko, bakit ako? Yung sarili ko yung nakita ko. The idea of a doppelganger is already downright scary, diba? So tell me, how the fuck could I move on from my evil twin visiting me in my dream and telling me she's going to kill me? As I mentioned, it took me so long bago ko maikwento yung nangyari. I was already a working adult when I finally had the courage to share to my close friends. Umiyak pa yung isa sa kanila sa takot. I also tweeted about it years ago. Madami-dami rin kinalibutan sa thread na yun. Even now, andito pa yung goosebumps habang tinatype ko to sa phone ko. Sobrang haba na nito.
Thank you so much for taking the time to read it. For all the listeners, if I could share any advice, please, huwag kayong matutulog agad after kumain. Wala akong pake kung busog kayo o hindi, pero please lang, utang na loob. Huwag. Ayun lang. Thank you, Earl. More power to your show. Ingat kayo, guys, and always pray.
Hello, Jet. Thank you very much for sharing that creepy story. Now, this story is not like the rest of the nightmare stories na sinend sa akin recently kasi it happened during a daytime nap. Linggo pa nga, so hindi naman siguro pagod si Jet para magkaroon ng troubled sleep. Kaya medyo nakakatakot isipin, bakit nangyari sa'yo to? Di ba sabi nila, Philippines crime rate goes down whenever Manny Pacquiao goes into a fight. Baka na-pick up na din ng mga supernatural beings yung short moment na yon to attack those who are not on guard. It's a good thing you were woken up by your mama. Kaya campers, next time, huwag matutulog ng busog, okay? Thank you so much, Jack. Tigil muna sa kwentuhan, magbabalik ang Philippine Camper Stories matapos lamang ang ilang saglit. Sa pagpapatuloy ng Philippine Campfire Stories. Summertime is in the air, and what better way to spend the hot days than to go to the beach and have a great time? Pero anong gagawin ninyo kapag lumubog na ang araw at binabalot na ng katahimikan ng isla? Yan ang nangyari sa susunod na kwento natin mula kay Jerwin na pinamagatan niyang After Party. Pakinggan natin ang kanyang kwento.
Hi, Earl. This story was shared to us by our professor in 2004 when I was still studying at a university here in Iloilo. During that time, we were working on some scripts for our video documentary project for his subject. During our break time, he asked if any of us have been to Boracay, and if we haven't, we should check out the nightlife and parties there during the peak season. Our professor has a family or perhaps a vacation home in Boracay. I can no longer recall the exact year that he and his friends encountered this unexplained experience,
but it was maybe between 2000 and 2003 during the summer season. He and 3 of his friends attended a party during that time, and when it was time for them to go home since it was already late at night, nag-rent sila ng tricycle na masasakyan. From what I can recall, one of his friends who was with them was drunk. Nakakita naman sila ng tricycle na pwedeng masakyan pa uwi. Though it was hard to see the road that time na kahit may buwan, there was an overcast, kaya hindi ganong kaliwanag yung paligid sa gabi while they were traveling going home. Habang nagbabiyahe, they were rowdy, cracking jokes and laughing out loud since nakainom sila. What's unusual lang during that time is that hindi sila idinaan ng tricycle sa main road, but instead, sa kabilang side ng Boracay na walang masyadong houses or street lights. Kasi shortcut nga daw sabi ng driver papunta sa bahay ng professor ko, which is totoo naman. Now, while they were in the middle of their conversation, biglang nag-butt in yung driver sa conversation nila. Gusto nyo makita ang tikbaylo ko? In Tagalog, gusto nyo bang makita yung pagpapalit ko ng anyo? After hearing that from the driver, the entire group was dead silent for a moment. Kasi nga, bakit biglang eksena si Kuya Driver sa conversation nila? Then my professor's drunk friend made a joke saying, "Sige abi nung, ano na siya ang tigbaylo mo how? Pakita abi sa amon?" Which translated to, "Sige nga kuya, ano ba yung tigbaliw mo? Ipakita mo nga sa amin." While my professor and the rest of his friends nervously laughed at what their friend said, at the same time they tried to shrug off the weirdness of the driver's question. Their friend uttered another statement like egging the driver to show his tigbaylo or shape-shifting, while the rest of the group was telling their drunk friend to keep it to himself kasi nga lasing na siya. In my professor's case and the other 2 of his friends, they know na nakainom sila. They're still sober. Oddly enough, the driver responded, "Sige, karon dugay-dugay. Makita niyo kit." In Tagalog, "Sige, mamayang konti makikita niyo." That totally spooked my professor and the rest of his friends kasi nga naman, parang ano ba yung pinagsasabi ng driver na to? Tinatakot ba niya sila? Save for my professor's drunk friend na tatawa-tawa lang kasi thought it was still a joke. Pero yung professor ko and his friends were sobrang kinakabahan na sa kung ano yung pwedeng mangyari. Like, seriously, if something straight from an aswang movie is going to happen to them, anong gagawin nila since hindi naman ganong kaliwanag yung surrounding and wala pang masyadong kabahayan? But in this time and age, it's impossible that an aswang, an old wives' tale, would exist. That perhaps may be the longest 30 minutes of their lives, but finally, nakarating na din sila sa labas ng gate ng bahay nila. Pagkababa nila ng tricycle, inalalayan ng isang friend ng professor ko yung drunk friend nila papunta at papasok ng gate, while my professor and his other friends stayed a little bit behind kasi magbabayad pa ng pamasahe sa nirent nilang tricycle. It was then when my professor noticed upon handing the fare to the driver na nagre-reflect or kumikislap yung mata ng driver. Alam mo ba yung mata ng pusa or ng aso sa dilim kapag tinamaan ng ilaw? Parang ganun daw. Pero nakangiti lang din sa kanila yung driver. Yung ngiting parang nakakaloko. From that moment, mabilis na ibinigay ng professor ko yung pamasahe sa driver at inaya niya agad yung friend niyang nag-aantay sa kanya na pumasok na ng gate. What's weird was that while nagmamadali silang maglakad papunta sa gate, hindi umaalis yung tricycle. Indramdam nilang parang minamatsagan at tinitingnan lang sila ng driver. Hindi makapag-usap yung professor and yung friend niya that time kasi pareho na rin silang kabado at takot. Nang malapit na sila sa gate bago sila pumasok ay napalingon pareho sa kinaroroonan ng driver. Nakababa na ito at nakatayo sa tabi ng tricycle pero nakatingin pa rin at hindi kumukurap. He still had that glassy eyes na kumikislap sa dilim. Pero this time, nakanganga na yung bibig ng driver. Basta, bukang-buka daw yung bibig na parang sa ahas. at nakita pa nila yung pagtulo ng laway nito. Ang laki daw ng mga ngipin niya pero hindi na confirm ng professor ko if pangil ba yung nakita nila. Add to that is yung mukha naman daw ng driver is parang kandila daw na natutunaw. From there, tumakbo na papasok ng gate yung professor ko and yung friend niya. Nung nasa loob na sila ng bahay, pagkatapos nilang malock yung door, tsaka naman sila may narinig na parang may kung anong naglalakad sa ibabaw ng bubong. Followed by a sound na parang inahing manok na naghahanap ng sisiw. Here in Panay, aside from the usual sound of tik-tik, a sure indicator na merong aswang sa paligid is when you hear that sound ng parang inahin sa kailaliman ng gabi and tigtalambo. Narinig lang nila yung sound ng papaalis na tricycle at tumahimik na yung paligid sa labas ng bahay. Natulog na magkakasama sa iisang kwarto that night yung professor ko and his friends. And that incident is something they would still talk about after it happened. It was indeed one hell of an after party. Hello, Jerwin. Salamat sa pananakot mo sa akin at sa lahat ng mga magbabakasyon sa beaches ngayong summer, ha? This is by far one of the scariest stories I have received from the San Telmo Society. Whenever I read a story kasi, I internalize and put myself in the storyteller's shoes. Sa kwentong ito, yung professor mo na nagbabakasyon lang naman sa Boracay, nakainom, medyo loose at hindi alerto, na sumakay sa tricycle tapos idinaan sa madilim na bahagi ng isla. Nako po, this is straight out of a horror movie. Now, just to share with you a part of the email sent by Jerwin. Such term na tigbaylo in Hiligaynon is only used to describe aswang when it shape-shifts during tigtalambo or yung pagtubo ng labong or bamboo shoots. It is believed here in the island of Panay that during tigtalambo, which incidentally happens during nights of summer season, is also the same time the aswangs, especially the bagong yanggao, would come out to shape-shift and even hunt. According to the Ilonggo stories, it's because of the bamboo shoots, kirok, or tiny splinters or fine hairs, makes it itchy for the aswangs, which trigger them to come out and shape-shift during such season. So, tigtalambo is an actual season pala kung kailan may bagong tambo o labong, yung new bamboo. I searched around the interwebs and found that many aswang stories are linked to tigtalambo nga. Siyempre, as your resident camp master, parang kailangan ko pang damihan ng kawayan dito sa camp. Baka may aswang sa inyo, campers, ha? Huwag niyong kainin ng mga kapwa-campers niyo, okay? Siguro kainin niyo with consent. Hindi, I'm just joking. Kinabahan kasi ako sa story ni Sherwin. I am deeply fascinated with the idea of tigtalambo season. Parang tigtalambo of the aswangs is like the full moon of the werewolves. Bakit kayo natitrigger mga aswang to hunt kapag may bagong tubong labong? The only connection I can think of is the kawayan is one of the primary weapons na ginagamit daw against sa mga aswang. Kailangan saksakin sa likuran ang aswang gamit ang pinatalim na kawayan upang mapatay ito. Baka may trigger sa mga aswang ang pagtubo ng mga bagong kawayan, knowing that this is one of the primeval resources to destroy an aswang. I love a good aswang story. Thank you again, Jerwin. Inyo pong nasubaybayan ng isa na namang gabi ng Philippine Campfire Stories sa ating segment na San Telmo Society. Sana ay nakatulong kahit panandalian ang pakikinig ninyo upang maipahinga ang inyong mga sarili laban sa problema at hamon sa labas ng campsite na ito. Salamat muli sa inyo, Je at Jerwin, para sa mga kwento natin ngayong gabi. Kung nais na nyo maging bahagi ng San Telmo Society episodes, ay maaari kayong mag-email ng inyong kwento sa campfirestoriesph@gmail.com at kada ikalawang linggo ay magbabasa ako ng mga napili nating kwento. Kung nagustuhan naman ninyo ang kwento natin sa camp ay maaari nyo akong suportahan sa pamamagitan ng Patreon at ng Ko-fi. Salamat sa lahat ng ating followers and patrons. Muli, maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Hanggang dito na lamang po at hanggang sa susunod nating kwentuhan.